All right, good morning everyone and welcome to the regular meeting of the Township of North Kawartha. It is August 11th and we're starting just a little bit late, 9:35 according to my computer time here. And I'd like to welcome all the folks that are joining us here in person today, as well as the folks that are joining us online. I want to remind everybody our meetings are recorded and they're uploaded to our YouTube channel. So any comments, any opinions that are expressed will be recorded and available for the public to hear. And before we begin, Council would like to acknowledge that we meet on the traditional lands of the Anishinaabe, in particular our neighbors from Curve Lake and Kawartha Anishinaabe First Nations. We recognize and honor the original people of this place we call North Kawartha. As duly elected representatives, we follow this Indigenous practice of acknowledgement to foster respectful deliberations, thoughtful collaboration, and wise decision-making in our service to this community. Okay, and before we begin our regular business, I would like to take a moment on behalf of Council, staff, and the Township of North Kawartha to honor the life and service of our colleague and friend, Councillor Jim O'Shea, who passed away August 6, 2026. Jim was a longtime resident of the Shandos Ward, a cottager since 1973, then calling North Kawartha his home year-round for the past 2 decades. Over those many years, he became deeply woven into the life of this community, not only as an elected representative, but as a neighbor, volunteer, environmental advocate, photographer, bridge player, golfer, and friend. Jim served the people of North Kawartha with dedication and care as the Shandos Ward Councillor and member of the Library Board since 2014. Long before he sat at the council table, however, he was already giving his time and energy to the community. He served for 14 years as president of the Shandos Lake Property Owners Association, and he was co-chair of the North Kawartha Lakes Association for several of those years. His contributions to the Shandos Lake community were remarkable. As president of the CLPOA, he helped recruit younger volunteers, encouraged ecological awareness, brought new energy to the regatta, and helped shape the annual CLPOA yearbook. Jim was also involved with the creation of the CLPOA Sailing Club approximately 50 years ago, a legacy that continues today. Jim received the Solicitor General's Ontario Crime Prevention Award for his work with local cottage watch programs, and he received a Peterborough County Environmental Award for his work as the president of the Shandos Association during his first term on council. In 2024, Jim received the Shandos Lake Outstanding Contributor Award in recognition of his many years of service and support. It's no secret that Jim was passionate about the environment. He contributed to regional lakeland conferences, sharing information on lake capacity studies, shoreline restoration and preservation, and environmental education. Jim helped strengthen local government and protect the lakes and landscapes that mean so much to all of us. However, Jim's contributions extended far beyond municipal government. He was active with the ABC Seniors, the Glen Alda Seniors, and the Community Bridge Club. As treasurer of the Glen Alda Seniors, he brought order, care, and good accounting practices to the group. Jim was also a strong advocate for scent-free practices throughout the township, a cause that reflected both his care for his wife and his broader instinct to make public spaces safer and more welcoming for others. Jim was perhaps best known by many as North Kawartha's unofficial official photographer. With skill and generosity, he captured the heart and spirit of our community at local events. Through his photos, he preserved the moments, faces, and gatherings that tell the story of who we are. On behalf of council and our entire community, we extend our sincere condolences to Marion, his daughter Rachel, his family, and to all who knew and loved him. We are grateful for his years of service and for the many ways he helped shape the community we are privileged to serve. Jim's absence will be felt around this council table and throughout North Kawartha. Yet his legacy will live on in the lakes and lands he worked to protect, the organizations he strengthened, the photographs he left behind, and the countless relationships he built over 50+ years in this community. May we honor Jim's memory by continuing to serve with the same care, thoughtfulness, and dedication that he brought to this work. Please join me in a moment of silence as we remember Jim. Thank you. Jim's family has asked that donations in Jim's memory can be made to the ALS Society of Canada. A date for the celebration of life has not been set at this time, and when those details become available, we will share them. And I just would like to take a moment, and Marion is here as well as his daughter Rachel. We do have a bouquet that we placed at Jim's spot, and we'd like for you to take that home and also to have his nameplate as well. So if you'd like to come up, you can grab that. Yeah.
It's okay. Jim loved this community, and he chose to stay here for one more summer rather than go to Toronto with my daughter. So we worked hard to make that happen.
Thank you. Thank you, Craig. Thank you. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna just get ourselves.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You're welcome, man.
Thank you. Oh. Okay. Get myself organized here, folks. Because we need to carry on with the business of the day. Okay? All right. So, do you want to say?
Yeah, while you're, to give you a moment, I think it's also worth highlighting that that was Jim's retirement. That was what Jim chose to do for fun, but for much of his life, he spent it positively impacting lives as a teacher. So he truly was a remarkable human being.
Yeah. I had several pages of notes written. There was a lot. And I, you know what, as I was going, I was amazed, actually. I mean, I knew, a lot of the things that Jim did, but I was had no idea the breadth and the scope of his contributions. And I think his life truly lives up to our community's tagline of connecting community, nature, and spirit. I mean, Jim did that with everything that he did. So he will be deeply missed from this table and from this community. So anyway, thank you all. Appreciate you taking a moment of silent respect for him as well. Okay, so now we're going to get into the business of our council meeting today. And first up, we do have some celebratory things to bring forward. And first, I would like to, oh, I gotta adopt the agenda. I'm so sorry.
Disclosure.
Oh my gosh, thank you. What would I do if you guys were here? Sorry, because I'm a little discombobulated right now. Pardon me. Is there a disclosure of pecuniary interest that any member has with any of the items before us today? I'm seeing none. I will go ahead. Adoption of the agenda. Ruth Ann will make that adoption, and seconded by Jim. All those in favor? It's approved. Okay, now I'm going to introduce some new staff here. We have, hang on, I gotta get my words. Jordan Dieter. Hello there, friend. Long time no see. Hope you have your 10-minute speech ready. We are pleased to announce that Jordan Tucker has been selected as the successful candidate for the full-time equipment operator position with the Township of North Kawartha. A successful graduate of the Fleming College Equipment Operator Program, Jordan brings valuable experience in both public works and fire services. Since 2022, he's been a dedicated member of the North Kawartha Volunteer Fire Department, demonstrating a strong commitment to public service and the safety of our community. Jordan's strong work ethic, dedication to helping others, and passion for serving our community make him an excellent addition to our public works team. We are excited to see him continue to grow and thrive in his new role. Welcome, Jordan. You want to say anything? You don't need 10 minutes.
Thank you very much. I'm excited to see what is in store for me.
All right, wonderful, thanks, Jordan. Okay, and we have a couple of other notable things to celebrate. First is Aaron Parent. Aaron has received the Association of Municipal Managers, Clerks and Treasurers of Ontario Certificate in Municipal Accounting and Financing program. This program consists of 2 courses that provide foundational knowledge in how municipalities generate revenues and how they plan, manage, and report their finances. It's riveting stuff. Municipal finance is heavily regulated and subject to complicated accountability measures. These correspondence courses are completed outside of work hours, and Erin achieved high marks on her assignments and overall final mark. Congratulations, Erin. And you get a little something. Something to put on your wall. Oops, sorry. Did you want to take a picture? Is she already ready? Oh, you're welcome. Did you want to say anything, or that was it?
I would just like to thank the township and council for the opportunity.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, and last but not least, it is my pleasure to recognize Corey Dunsby, our Public Works Manager, on earning his Associate Road Supervisor designation. This respected designation comes from the Association of Ontario Road Supervisors, AORS, and reflects professional excellence, leadership, and knowledge of the standards that support safe and reliable municipal roads. Corey began with the township as a public works operator and has advanced through several roles to his current position through hard work, professionalism, and service to the community. Congratulations, Corey, on your achievement and your continued service to the township. I don't have anything fancy to present yet. just our super awesome thanks and gratitude. Good job.
Very much.
All right, thank you. Okay, so you guys are welcome to sneak on out. Okay, and is Ford's here?
Yeah.
Oh, what did you sneak in and just rising in the corner like just a mushroom coming? Good morning, welcome. Okay, well, I am going to declare that we are going into statutory public hearing for the purpose of hearing 2 zone amendment applications. This is an opportunity for folks to request relief from planning rules and regulations. It's also an opportunity for members of the public to provide comment on those requests for relief, either in support of or in opposition to. We welcome all comments and feedback so council can make the best decision possible. But I do want to note that there have been recent changes to the Planning Act that have removed the right of appeal. It's only for specified persons, certain agencies, the applicant, and for those folks, there is a 20-day appeal period. And that begins the day the decision, or the notice of the decision is posted, I believe. So with that, I will turn it over to our planner, Mr. Forbes Simon. Good morning, welcome.
Good morning.
He appeared out of the nowhere in the back.
Like a mushroom. I'm going to take that as a positive statement.
It is positive, I'm sorry.
I was in a walk in the bush yesterday and there were all kinds of beautiful mushrooms.
They just kind of pop out of nowhere.
Take that as a positive. So, thank you very much. It's always a pleasure to be before you.
You're such a fun guy. Sorry.
The matter that's before you this morning, Mayor and Council, is a matter that you've seen in another form. This is a zoning amendment, ZA 0826. It's been submitted by the agent Eagle View Consulting Services on behalf of the owner, Gord Tucker Cottage Services. You may recall that this land was subject to two consent applications, B5925 and B6025, to create two residential lots. It was also the subject of an official plan amendment that was putting in place policies of the new official plan that hadn't been adopted, which now I believe has been approved. And anyway, there was also an official plan amendment dealt with it. The Land Division Committee for Peterborough County did make a conditional approval of the consent applications in June of this year. And one of the conditions that was requested by the municipality was that the lands be subject to a zoning bylaw amendment, placing the lands in the rural residential zone. They're currently in just the straight rural zone. And so this is somewhat of an administrative exercise, council. And just to formalize things, the property is described as concession 16, part lots 23 to 25 in the Burley ward. The lands are partially within the hamlet, also within the rural designation, and there are portions of the parent property that are identified as environmental constraint. The two lots in question, one is 1 hectare in size, one is 2.2 hectares in size. Each have approximately 60 meters of frontage on Jack Lake Road. And the civic address of the parent property is identified as 198 Jack Lake. In terms of planning analysis, as is being confirmed through the consent process and the official plan amendment process, the development proposal is consistent with the planning documents, and it's been deemed to represent good land use planning, and the zoning amendment is a condition of that consent, and it's understood that both the new proposed lots will meet the requirements of the existing rural residential zone in our comprehensive zoning bylaw. Council, there have been no comments of concern that I received at the time of the writing of the report. All matters related to entrances and MTO and things of that nature have been dealt with through the consent process. I submit to you that the application is presented, represents good land use planning, and I encourage council to look at the application favorably. I'm happy to answer any questions if you have any.
All right, well, thank you very much for that. Now, I would ask if the applicant or the applicant's representative wanted to speak and add further information, but I'm not seeing anyone that's here to speak on this. And then again, I will ask if there's any member of the public that is here that would like to speak on this application. Again, I'm not seeing any indication, and like you said, it's pretty straightforward. It's a condition of consent. So I'll turn it back to council members. What are you thinking? Anyone? I'll let Colin go. Yep.
I'll move the recommendation with the comment that all three levels of government know that housing is a priority. And I really wish it wasn't this difficult for somebody to take a piece of rural property, which is one of the areas where more accessible housing financially can be built, and build housing for people.
Okay, all right, so moved by Colin, seconded by Jim. All those in favor? It's approved. All right, thank you very much. And Laura is coming forward to deal with our next application that we have. Welcome back.
Thank you. Okay, so this application is zoning bylaw amendment ZA-07-26. The recommendation is that council approve zoning bylaw amendment application Z-07 or ZA-07-26 to to permit an increase in density of a recreational dwelling located within 9 meters of the high water mark, with the rebuild of the cottage at 8.2 meters from the high water mark and a height of 8 meters. And additionally, an increase in density for an accessory structure located at 10.4 meters from the high water mark with a height of 4.7 meters and an area of 47 square meters. The property information is as follows. The address is in Strutter Lake Island 2, number 25, roll number 153602020206600. The owners are the Founds and the Atwoods, who are with us in the chambers today. The zoning is shoreline residential island, and the official plan designation is seasonal residential. So this application, the property itself is exclusively contained to the island. There are no adjacent property owners or no other owners of properties on the island, so it's just the applicants. The intention is to tidy up the property a little bit. So with redeveloping the accessory structure, 3 sheds or smaller accessory structures will be removed in its place. The existing frame building, as I mentioned, is 2.8 meters from the high water mark. It is quite old, so the rebuild is taking place on the same footprint with a minor addition to the rear. We did hear from Curve Lake. It was determined that because the areas had been disturbed with the septic and other moving of fill over the past number of years, that an archaeological study would not be required. So this application was measured against the planning policy of the provincial planning statement, and it was found to conform to those. It was also measured against the Peterborough County official plan and was found to be in conformity with the seasonal residential designation policies. The zoning bylaw generally does support this application. It's just once you get into redevelopment within the first 9 meters of the high water mark or redevelopment of an accessory structure like that, we have to move into the zoning bylaw application instead of a minor variance. So in conclusion, the application for an exemption to the SRI zone is consistent with the provincial planning statement and the county's official plan and should be approved. And we did hear from Kawartha Pine Ridge District School Board, and they have no concerns.
Okay, all right, thank you for that. Okay, so now I would ask if the applicant or the applicant's representative would like to speak. And I have to say, I didn't recognize you.
I know.
Hi, Sherry. Oh, no, welcome.
First of all, let me thank Laura on behalf of the 4 of us. She answered many questions from us and really helped us through this process. So we do want to extend our thanks. Thank you. And a great report. I think Laura has explained things clearly. I think the only thing we'd like to add is that Paul and Jennifer's dad was one of the first property owners on Anstruther Lake. So happily, we are celebrating next year 75 years on Fountains Island. So we're pretty excited about that. And based on that foundation of legacy, we're certainly very committed to maintaining the integrity of the island and the lake. And this morning, we'd just be happy to answer any other questions that you might have.
All right, thank you. Okay, is there anybody here that wants to speak on this application, either in support of or in opposition to? This is your opportunity to do so. I don't see anybody online that's raising a little hand, and I'm not seeing anybody here. So you want to speak on this?
Oh, I do.
As a member of the public or as a member of council?
As a member of something.
Okay, I'm turning it over to Jim.
These are a bunch of renegades.
Whoops.
You know, this is a unique property because it has a great big rock in the front and the same rock all the way back. It's built on a rock. It's beautiful. It's just beautiful. And it would be my pleasure to recommend the ZA 07-26 be approved, with, I don't think there was even any conditions, was there?
You can't, through
You
you,
can't
Madam Mayor, you can't put conditions on
Oh, yeah.
a zoning bylaw amendment, or I would have.
Whoa, okay, what she said.
All right, recommendation to approve, seconded by Ruth Ann. All those in favor? That application is approved. All right, thanks very much and congratulations on 75 years next year.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. All right, thanks, Laura. And I'm going to declare that we are out of statutory public hearing. And with council's permission, I would like to pull forward the planning staff report with respect to the conditions of draft approval for the subdivision application. Forbes is here, and rather than make him wait to deal with that, if you wanted, I should have mentioned that to you before, but I didn't know you were there until you popped up.
Nice to see you, Gary.
Thanks, folks.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. I'm sorry.
I love the long hair. That's why I didn't recognize you.
It's a result of COVID.
Oh, yeah. Isn't it all? Thanks. Okay, welcome back, Forbes.
Wow.
No comments on the hair.
No, I was sorry. I thought I was gonna just leave it at the mushroom club.
Appreciate that there.
You know what they feed mushrooms?
Oh,
No,
stop.
I do know.
Oh my gosh.
Appropriate.
All right, please go ahead.
Thank you very much, and I do appreciate you bringing this matter forward. That was very thoughtful of you. So, council, we have had an official plan amendment and a zoning amendment for what I'm calling the Challenger plan of subdivision at 65 Northy Bay Road, the former golf course in the hamlet of Woodview. Those matters have been addressed and looked after by the county, but the underlying initiative that drove those applications was the draft plan of subdivision. And in Peterborough County, the approval authority for subdivisions is the county. And they circulate to agencies as well as the municipality and ask for comments, very similar to the way they do a consent application. And the typical response is the township staff review the consent application, and then they recommend conditions through you that go forward to the county, and they include those in their deliberations and decisions. It's the exact same process for plans of subdivision. So now that the official plan amendment and zoning amendment are dealt with, it's now an appropriate time to consider the conditions of draft approval for the subdivision being recommended by council. The one difference between the subdivision process and the consent process is the complexity of the development proposals. The fact that there's new roads, there's stormwater management ponds, there's a lot of studies that have had to have been done that influence how wells and septic systems get constructed on the property. And it's all leading to an extremely important document called the subdivision agreement. And the subdivision agreement is a contract between the developer and the municipality that details how the subdivision is going to be developed, how the roads are going to be constructed, and how eventually those public assets get transferred back to the municipality and become owned and operated by the municipality, and ensuring that the individual lots are developed as they have been proposed to be developed. The subdivision agreement is a complex document. It's a very serious document that talks about construction standards. It talks about securities that are necessary to ensure development is done in accordance with the township's expectations. And it sets out the terms and conditions for the road and the stormwater pond to be transferred to the municipality after a warranty period. So what you will notice in my report and the appendices with the conditions is that we're not talking about 5 or 6 conditions like we do with the consent. We're talking 20, 30, 40 conditions. And that's to ensure that all the elements are captured and that they lead to this eventual subdivision agreement. And I think in this case, it's a relatively new experience for the township, but hopefully you can appreciate that this is something that's done quite a bit. I've worked with the county and asked them for examples of the conditions that they've imposed on other rural subdivisions. I've used that as a base. I've also have my own sort of standard subdivision condition list that I've compared the county's list to, and they were very, very similar. It was phraseology as much as anything that was different. I think the conditions are appropriate. There are a couple of matters that I wish to highlight. The first is that the hydrogeologic study and the servicing study that talks about wells and septic systems is a very critical document, and it's specifically referenced, and the recommendations of that report end up populating schedules in the subdivision agreement. And so that's a really important one, and I know people were concerned about well and septic, and so that professional work it flows all the way through to the very end. The other point that I want to highlight is that there will be no parkland provided to the township through this subdivision, and there's an expectation that there will be cash in lieu of parkland, and that's being expressed by the developer from the beginning. I have a tendency to agree with that approach. When you look at, I'm going to say, estate lot subdivision properties, every property is sized so that it's got a park component and there's lots of open space. And for a development like this, then to contribute to your existing amenities in the community is a very good idea. The other aspect that is highlighted in the conditions is construction traffic. During the construction of a subdivision, the most disruptive thing is the trucks coming and going and coming and going and coming and going. And so having a strategy of the routes the truck takes, where materials are stored on site, where the trucks are stored, where the laborers' vehicles are stored, are all elements that need to be presented to staff and council so that we know that there's going to be as little disruption in the neighborhood during the construction phase as possible, realizing you can't eliminate it. The other aspect, there was a bit of a flyer with the official plan amendments and zoning amendment and concerned about Fire Route 35 and its integrity and making sure that it's kept whole and available on a go-forward basis. And we've included that as a condition as well. I think we were satisfied that that was going to be done, but again, dotting the I's and crossing the T's. The conditions are there. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have on those conditions or discuss the process in any more detail.
Okay, all right, thank you for that, Forbes. That was really good. And I appreciate that staff took the time and had reviewed it and then sent it to council well in advance of the meeting, so we had lots of time to review and sort of ask our questions. So Jim, do you want to
Yeah, I was
start
just
off?
gonna say thanks, Forbes, for sending that forward, so that we could, get our questions in, and thanks for the satisfactory answers.
Okay, all right.
Just a, I guess, process question.
Oh, my, sorry.
Sorry. process question. Now you can hear me, right?
Yes.
Is this our last opportunity for conditions?
Yes, it would be. And if there's a sense around the table that there are things that are missing, and that there are additional issues that should be highlighted, I think we would pause advancing these and have that discussion with you and make sure we capture everything.
Okay.
And I realize what I just said about housing, a lot of this might sound sort of hypocritical, but while I do want houses, I do want us to provide the basic oversight that is our responsibility. And getting good information and having good discussions is all a big part of that. I know that there's lots of green space on those individual properties, and that's one way of interpreting the open space, but it also invites accessory dwelling units based on our township's present bylaws, and I believe that's a consideration that council needs to discuss. I also have some challenges with the way that the road capacity calculations have been done. I really struggle to see there only being a 33% gap between the capacity of Highway 28 and Northeast Bay. And when that is a foundational number that's used in calculations, we need to make sure that is in fact accurate. And then there's also a bit of a difference in opinion where I believe that the demonstrated public input so far, the many letters that we've gotten, the full house that we had here on Tuesday is a sign that we need to continue with public consultation. I'll acknowledge that the first meeting that we had was not actually 100% required or necessary and represented sort of exceptional transparency on our behalf, but I believe that all the demonstrated public interest is a sign that an open house is actually necessary for this.
That's it? Okay, all right. Forbes?
So the matter of additional residential units is something that with planned subdivision developments, typically it has to be looked at in the hydrogeologic analysis. That adds additional load onto the septic systems. And so that's one of the elements that we would be looking to when the hydro-G gets finalized, that they address additional residential units. It's not uncommon, Councillor, that with estate lot subdivisions that go through this exercise, that external additional residential units are not permitted. Ones that are within the dwelling, basement apartments or things of that nature, are typically okay because the septic system is designed for that. It's the external ones that become a problem. And so when we do the site-specific zoning amendment, there will be properties, either a few of them or all of them, where ARUs are not appropriate. And that will be reflected in the zoning of the subdivision and dealt with through the conditions and the agreement. The question of traffic, I appreciate that. I will say to council this, that the study has been done by a qualified engineer, reviewed by MTO and their engineers, and reviewed by the county and deemed to be appropriate. You'll see that condition 25, Councillor, talks about finalizing the traffic study, and that typically is bringing it up to date if there's any new traffic counts in the area and things of that nature, or if there's changes to MTO and county policies. I don't make a habit of questioning other professionals and their recommendations. The peer review stands on its own. And the one thing that I did appreciate with the traffic study is that they did not remove the volume of vehicles associated with the historic use of the property as a golf course. So it's actually the golf course plus the new residential units are the numbers that are coming out. So I would say it's erring on the high side because of that. But again, if there are specific issues that you feel we need to have clarification on with respect to traffic, we have the opportunity through this process to express that to the developer and say, when you finalize the traffic report, we wish to have items X, Y, and Z addressed. And so, Councillor, I would suggest you reach out to myself or through the CAO, and we can identify those issues and drive them forward in terms of traffic.
Quickly in follow-up, sorry, put on my microphone here. In follow-up, the sort of intersection challenges at North East Bay Road actually came forward from a gentleman at our last public session. I went down, made a U-turn, and drove the intersection. I do believe that there's some challenges there. I don't have any interest in holding up the entire process for the MTO. But I do believe that section should be, or that intersection should be looked at closely. And then just a follow-up question. Is it common for councils to be expected to approve plans of subdivision before the hydrogeological study and traffic report are finalized?
So they are submitted, Councillor, always in a draft form. And they're subject to peer review, and they've been subject to peer review, which is other third-party professionals looking at them. And they don't typically get finalized until the final submission when you come to the draft plan of subdivision, or the draft agreement. They are in a final format, but they are subject to tweaking and things that changes over time. It's not uncommon to see a study that may be 4 or 5 years old that may be becoming stale dated by the time we get to an agreement point. So I'm reluctant to use the phrase finalized, but I would look at them in a draft format until the very end of the process. That would be my sort of take on that.
All right. Any other questions or comments? And this is, just if I may too, so these are, we are recommending to county. These are our conditions. Does the county have other conditions that they may add?
Yeah, that's a great question. Thank you very much. It's very typical that when the county does their circulation, they will bring in MTO, they will bring in county highways, they will bring in Canada Post, they will also sometimes include Ontario Hydro. It's very common for conditions in terms of community mailboxes. And the location and the designing of the drop-off and pickup point for community mailboxes to be a condition. In this case, we don't have a conservation authority involved, but typically they would have a number of conditions as well. But so they will bring in all the comments from all of the agencies. And so we would represent, I would think, 80% of all the conditions. But others certainly are brought into the process, and their conditions in terms of development are also reflected.
Okay, all right, thank you for that. Any other questions or comments on this? You do have a recommendation on this report that council endorse the conditions of draft approval that's in Schedule A, and then we forward them to the county for consideration. So, like I said, at this point, it's a recommendation. Jim?
Recommendation.
Okay. Jim's gonna make the motion to move these recommendations forward. Is there a seconder for that?
No, actually, just call for a recorded vote on this, please.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was gonna ask for one.
Yeah,
That's great.
yep. So, and you're calling for a recorded vote, not seconding? Okay, and
I'll second.
Ruth Ann will second it. Okay, all right, Kelly, I'll turn it over to you, please.
Councillor McElmoyle,
Yes.
Councillor McClellan,
No.
Deputy Mayor Whalen,
Yes.
Mayor Amiot.
Yes. Okay, the motion is passed. Thank you very much, Forbes. I have to say, this is a big thing for our community. I spoke at county council that, in half a century is, it's been since we've had a development of this nature in our community, and it's significant for sure.
And I do appreciate that, and I do appreciate council asking me to help out and trusting me on this matter as well. It is something that I've dealt with quite a few of them, so. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
All the best. Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you
Forbes.
very much for it.
Okay, and with that, I'm going to call for a 10-minute recess, and we'll reconvene at 10:30 for our scheduled deputation. All right, welcome back, everyone, and we're going to carry on with the business of today. Up next, we have a presentation, and we have Donald Linders here and some folks from Big Cedar Lake to talk to us about Julian Lake Road maintenance status. So good morning, Don, welcome, and please go ahead.
Good morning, thank you. As I said, I'm Donald Linders, and I am a property owner on Big Cedar Lake. Actually, I own multiple properties on Big Cedar Lake. I have a family history there, and my family has been on the lake for almost 90 years now. So it's a special place for me, and I recently just retired from the software company I sold, which many of you will know of. Bus planner that controls all the school buses. That's my software, or I built it, and now I don't own it anymore. So now we live up here.
School's out for you.
Yes, school is out for me, and my wife and I have essentially moved up here, and we live on Big Cedar Lake, and I actually pastor the church in Burley Falls now. So I thank you very much for the opportunity to be here and to present our issue that we have today. We're here to request that the Julian Lake Road be adopted as full maintenance from the start to finish, from Highway 28 all the way until the Big Cedar Lake Road boat launch. So, oh yeah, we're well. Can we go back to the map, please? Oh, there we go. Okay, so here's a map of Big Cedar Lake. Julian Lake Road goes from Highway 28. The large arrow there delineates approximately where the current turnaround is. Yep. And there's a little yellow sign there saying limited summer maintenance, no winter maintenance. And then it goes all the way down, but I would like to make a correction to the county. Julian Lake Road does not go in all the way to our property, those 4 properties that are delineated in.
I was going to ask that.
Yes, so that is actually most or part of Fire Route 38. And so basically it comes down that little bay that you see by the little turny thing. Yep. It is actually where it ends, and there is a large parking lot right there. In one of our letters, we actually showed you the pictures of that. I have one this morning, actually, with, I don't know what it is today, but there's a lot of vehicles down there. There's now 7 vehicles and 3 trailers down there. One of them blocking the road.
Oh, nice.
So if an emergency vehicle were to come in right now, they would not be able to get in. So we are now unprotected. Well, we're here, so it's okay.
How's your health, Don?
My health is really good. So, but we're just here, we want to make sure that we bring some awareness to this. Cheryl's father-in-law built Fire Route 38 in 1948 to be able to access their cottage, which is the very end cottage on Fire Route 38. We agree that when it was built back in 1948, 1950, even 1960s and 70s, when I was a much younger man. We can go to the request now, please. So we're looking to ask you to upgrade Julian Lake Road to the full maintenance status that we feel it deserves. We know that is going to require making some safety upgrades. Right now, there is a blind corner at Camp Burblack. When you drive by Camp Burblack, you can either drive straight into it, or you can make a very, very, very hairpin turn, and there's a large rock right there, which impedes anyone from seeing anything coming the other way. I actually had a visitor to our cottage last year that almost got killed. Took the car coming this way to the camp, was in the middle, and he came out through there, and the truck took the whole front of his car off. So we need to do something about that blind corner. If you give me some dynamite, I'd be happy to help you. But I'm thinking no one's gonna give me any dynamite. So there we go. Reduce the slope of the large steep hill. There is a large steep hill after the unsafe hairpin turn, and it goes down. There was a boat and a trailer yesterday that the rental company was using, and he quite obviously does not know how to use his four-wheel drive. Drove up with the large 24-foot pontoon boat and spun his tires all the way up the road. So that means that today I will be going out with my tractor and my blade and fixing it because there's no maintenance. Next slide, please. So we are asking, and this is why the petition was created, we're asking specifically for the council to initiate engineering reviews to figure out what needs to be done. I'm not an engineer. Include the required funding in the township's capital and operational budgets to do those upgrades. I understand that all takes money. We're asking you to pass the necessary bylaws, because bylaw 1099, which is the one that little sign references that quite obviously no one reads, is great, but that was probably really quite applicable 35 years ago, but not now. And we would like council, I would request council establish and communicate a timeline. I'm happy to be the point person on that, but we do think this is very, very important now. Next slide. So the rationale behind this is, as I said, the road usage has evolved significantly over the past 30 years. When I was a kid, we used a tinny boat, had a little small rubber runabout. We just found a way at the side of the lake to put it in. Very rarely did we go down to that very rudimentary boat launch. That boat launch, however, is now here, and it has been upgraded. I don't know who did it. If it was you, thank you. I doubt it, though. I'm pretty sure that
Wasn't me, I don't know.
I'm pretty sure that people on the lake we would pay for gravel, and it just over time got better. But the extension of that has been extensive. We now we have bigger boats. Everyone uses that. It is the sole boat launch access. Your husband uses it to deliver his docks. I've seen every one of the dock manufacturers there, and I have seen fridges being loaded onto barges. I've seen a lot of different things happening there. It gets used a lot by a lot of very heavy equipment, and without it being maintained, that heavy equipment, you can imagine, takes its toll on that road. So I know I'm a part of this, but the information age has also made Big Cedar Lake and all the lakes around here much more accessible. People know where they are, and people know how to get there, and people use those access routes. There is that public launch, and that public launch pretty much easily handles, I would say, 4 or 5 cars at the end. I would suggest to you that 4 or 5 cars, I would say there's a minimum of 4 at all times now, year round. Whether it's snowmobilers with snowmobile trailers, whether it's rental people dropping off rentals, snowmobiles or boats, they're there and they're using that road. So the fact that there's this little sign there that says that this road has no maintenance in the winter, well, that's all great and fine and dandy, but there's 4 of us who are obliged by our insurance companies to keep it plowed. So now the township has effectively placed the burden of care on that road on 4 cottages. Costs us a lot of money. And I'm a little worried because I'm the one plowing the road a lot of the times. What if something happens and the township says, oh, I have a sign there. They're gonna sue, who are they gonna sue? Because if they sue me, guess who I'm gonna sue? So I'm just saying.
It's escalating quickly.
I'm just saying, I don't want, heaven forbid that ever happens. I don't want it to happen. But we are taking the responsibility to do what the township is not because we have to. And the public doesn't care about that sign. Well, it's plowed. Maybe that sign doesn't matter anymore. So now we used to plow down and we used to just plow right into Fire Route 38. And then the public would come and they would block our access they would park on the side of the road in the middle of the winter and block our access to Fire Route 38. On multiple times. So now we have to plow the entire parking lot so that these people can have their beloved spots to park. So access to our places, that's great. I have seen multiple emergency vehicles in there this year, right, unfortunately. But that is a fact of our life in 2026, right? We have emergency vehicles. We have this wonderful system that we call 911 that we can do that and help will arrive. If it's not available, help has told us that they will not come down. So that's another thing. As I've mentioned, the public and vendors use this road as an access, as a right. The 4 owners, there is a definite imbalance now where the four owners are paying for that to happen. So with the increased usage of the road, the safety of all, I think, is in all of our best interest. There's a lot of people who I don't recognize using that road. There's only 4 of us. We know who we are. So, and there's just a lot of other people. That road didn't used to get used, but it is being used now. Next slide, please. So basically, we do realize that council has many, many priorities. However, respectfully, it is time for the township to take full maintenance responsibility for all of Julian Lake Road. We thank you for your time and consideration, and I'm happy to answer questions if you have any.
Excellent, thank you very much. It was a great presentation, and a couple things I just wanted to say, because I am very familiar with that road and with that launch. I've been down there with your good friend Doug many times, dealing with the Starry Stone wart. You know that access is getting used a lot because that's where the invasive species are being introduced, right? Yes. I think there are private launches on the lake, but that, you're right, it is the only public one, and it's Crown. Like, it's not a launch that the township maintains, so there's other kind of jurisdictional level there. But one thing I do want to say, we do have our public works manager here, Corey, and I will ask him to maybe provide some comment, is that over the years, and I've been on council a long time, we have lots of folks that come forward from different roads, from private roads, and wanting council, like, you gotta take on this road, and I've always said, like, I don't know that we're in a position to take on more roads until we fully look after the roads that are in our ownership. Your road in particular is one of those roads. It's only so far, and I know the challenges. And when I look at this map, I've been staring at the map the whole time you've been talking, right? Because it's just, I'm picturing in my mind, and I'm like, yeah, that will be a challenge for sure, right? At any, like the way that it is now, and you know, and even if it continues forward in the same manner, because I look at it and think like, can we just like cut it off right there? And, but knowing that the landscape is the way that it is, you know, it's not something that we're going to be able to say like, okay, it's done, we're going to do it today, kind of thing.
No, and we understand that.
Yeah, and I know that, and your presentation identified that. You know that there's, we need to do our due diligence and our homework and figure things out. So I really appreciate though that you guys brought this forward. It's excellent. Corey, I don't know if you maybe wanted to say a couple of things just to kind of respond to some of that stuff and what your perspective is as a road
Should
supervisor.
get a study from,
Well,
should get a report from the.
well, we will.
This is a ton of money.
Oh, no, I mean, I realize that, but I just want to know if Corey has any comments in his expertise as our public works manager.
Yes, through the mayor, I'm probably not his all I am. So from a public works perspective, we do try, like there's minimal amounts of gravel on that road. We do what we can, what we have to work with there. I do realize that there is an issue with Peterborough County's mapping as well. I will action that to get changed, because I believe they actually have the entrance to the camp listed as Fire Road 38.
Yeah, well, yeah, and therefore Google Maps has it like that.
Yes. So
Oh, let's not get into Google Maps.
I will definitely, that brought to my attention too, so I will action that for sure. And I do understand that there is some, with the topography of the land, past the turnaround is definitely, I understand it's in the winter for sure. So it's increasingly hard for us to paint as well. I know you guys have files in there too, so I don't know with respect to our equipment, like one, we can't do it right now, but we got to do something for sure.
Yeah, oh, absolutely, I know.
But like I said, as far as it goes, we do try to maintain it better, because I think all of our minimum service roads is probably the biggest one, I would say, in the summer.
Winter too.
In winter, yeah, so that's where you get into issues too, like for example, the turnaround at the end, if you're plowing it, people park down there, we think there's some kind of turnaround, we get stuck down there, right? So exactly, so that's more of a part of the issue for sure. But anyway, like I said, we will continue to try and get in there as much as we can, being that it's busier than we're
Yeah, but it's absolutely, I mean, there will be direction after we're done our discussion here, because we'll need that. Yeah, sorry, you had your hand up, yeah.
I would just like to thank you very much for taking on the retitling of the Fire Route Road. It is Fire Route 38, and I can honestly attest to the fact that my late husband required ambulances a few times to come in, and they couldn't find it. Because it's labeled 30, there's a Fire Route 38 in Buckhorn.
That's right.
Yes,
Yeah.
and so you have no idea how often materials come delivered to them that are supposed to be for us. And then to have it as Verbalac, and you've got an ambulance coming, and so I would appreciate you taking that one on. And we have contacted Google, and it doesn't seem to get too far at all. So thank you I appreciate that.
Okay.
Thank you for
Yeah, Corey. Yeah, Corey's gonna
respond.
respond.
Through the mayor, I believe it's signed correct.
It is signed
It's
correctly.
signed correctly,
Yes.
it's just the mapping that's the issue.
Yes.
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, if we can get it corrected, yeah, at least at the county level and on our own local, I mean, and the Google challenge, I mean, well, just carry on with that, because it's frustrating, even where I am, it's like, you're not alone
Yeah.
in the errors with Google Maps.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
So, okay, is there any questions from members of council? Jim, you want to start us off?
I'd just like to comment, for 30 years at the cottage, we had 10 kilometers of private road, and we had to maintain. And I came here very often and asked them to take it over, and they all said no. So I don't want to say flat no to you, but I do want to study the report from Corey.
Yep.
With the possibility of what we can do and what we can't do, and the approximate costing and so on and so forth.
But let's just be clear, the difference is you were on a private road, this road is a municipal road listed in our bylaws, right?
Yeah.
So that's the difference here.
So if it was a private road, like Firewood 38, we wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
This is not a private road. It's on a map, it's showing as Julian Lake Road. The public comes in and someone in their infinite wisdom, the sole boat launch at the end of it. So now we have a great number of visitors coming there as well. And so I'm the one maintaining it. Like every once in a while, Corey's guys come and I really appreciate it. But you don't do everything. Like it would be impassable. And those rainstorms make it a little bit more impassable. Life is not getting better. It's getting worse. And guys who drive up and down that don't know how to drive up a hill and gravel roads, they ruin it. So I guess my question to you then is, in the meantime, what is our recourse to, can I block it in the winter and say, we're gonna put a gate up and say, you can't come in here? Because it's Crown land, I don't know that I can do that. Can I block can I put a gate on the boat launch? Because if the gate's on the boat launch, no visitors anymore.
Yeah, good questions, right?
So,
Yeah.
because at some point in time, I'm getting ready to put a gate on that boat launch and say, here's a phone number to call if you want to do this, and I may or may not let you in.
Well, you will have to take that up with the MNR, because the MNR is the boat launch.
I know.
And public access to water is a provincial thing or whatever, but
Yeah.
there's a lot of things that need to be addressed, a lot of questions that need to be answered and things that need to be investigated, because it's, like I said, it's not something that's simple that we can just say, okay, like we're gonna make a change like tomorrow. But you're here, we can start the process and work together, right? It's something that clearly needs to be addressed one way or another. So I do really appreciate you guys bringing this to our attention. Is there any other comments? Because I'm looking for a motion that we're going to direct our public works supervisor to bring back a report that speaks to the concerns and the issues that you've raised and kind of outlines what our options are and how we move forward, right? So I don't know, Kelly, have you got all that?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know. Did you?
Yeah, I like the motion.
Oh, okay, you want to move it?
Yeah, sounds
Okay.
pretty smart, I'll take it.
That's Colin's motion now. Seconder, Jim, you want to second it?
Yeah, second it for
Okay.
sure, a good report, Tom.
Thank you.
All those in favor? That's approved. Thanks again. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And did you put that we received their presentation as well on that motion?
Yes.
Thank you, because that's what I meant. All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Go and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Have a good day.
Okay. All right, so now we're going back.
I would like to add,
Sure.
Big Cedar Lake Road, I also own property on Big Cedar Lake Road.
Yeah.
Very good job. Like,
Tell that guy.
yes, very, like, I understand Julian Lake Road will get done to a certain
The
point.
plan is to
there.
service treat the majority of our gravel roads.
So the equipment that you had out on Big Cedar Lake Road is the equipment you need to do work to do there. I'm just saying.
Okay, thanks.
Like, I just know that big excavator sat for days and days and days, and I know you had issues and there was, people and all that stuff, right? But like, you have the equipment there, if you're gonna do Julian Lake Road, it's gonna be there for.
There's a timeline, right now, the Surface Street program is flipped up to the north, we're doing some around channels, but you're on the list, it's all gonna be done.
So I'm saying,
Yeah.
maybe we can get this done and have it sorted out so that we can have it done all at the same time.
Maybe,
I'm just,
coordinate it, right?
I'm a business guy, trying to look for,
Efficiencies, I like it.
There you go.
All right,
Thank you.
thanks, guys,
Have a
thanks so
good day,
much.
folks.
Thank you very much.
Okay, all right, so we're gonna go back to the agenda, and actually, if I may, can I have a motion to adopt the agenda of the Committee of Adjustment that we had this morning? Moved by Colin, seconded by Ruth Ann, all in favor? That's been adopted. I apologize, Kelly, she sent me an email at the beginning of our Committee of Adjustment, and I was just so focused on.
I'm starting to recognize
I know, I'm sort of like, so you guys need to work together. Like, send the signal to Shannon, Shannon will hit me. I was so focused on our time because we were packed this morning, but thank you for that, and now,
I'll just be a little bit more aggressive.
do you have to? Just jump in, put your mic on and say, hey!
Me?
Shannon and I do it all the time.
Okay. All right, so we're back under our presentations, and so we're gonna go back to our reports. So Peterborough County report. First off, I think you guys all know, Woodview Development Official Plan Amendment was approved at our last county council meeting, hence why we had the draft conditions for the subdivision before us today. We had a report and a presentation for the Lakefield Transportation Master Plan regarding a second bridge crossing over the Autonomy. It's quite an investigation that they're undertaking there and figuring all of that out, but it's necessary. The growth in that area is crazy, and Bridge is getting a lot of use, and it needs repairs, and it won't be able to handle the increased traffic. So we looked at that. We had presentations from the economic development and tourism students about like the business count and the work they have done this summer with the visitors. Actually, it was pretty awesome.
Oh, your daughter was fired, but that's.
I know, my baby girl was there, but no, I mean, it was just great to see, especially the tourism stuff. Like last year, we were renting space in Lakefield for a tourism office, sort of a place for visitors to go. This year, they are on the go. They are moving. They're a mobile sort of a service provider, and they're everywhere. They've been all over. They've been attending all different kinds of events, different businesses. They've been showing up to some of the ECDEV stuff. And it's really been beneficial in terms of connecting with the folks that are visiting in our area, and they're doing the whole, like, what kind of traveler are you? Travel like a bear, travel like a fox, all that. So anyway, it was really good. It was really interesting, and they got a big round of applause from county council there for the work that they've been doing. Couple other things, the Eastern Ontario Information Technology Committee, so, EORN and EOW, the Warden's Caucus, all the IT folks get together, they have a committee and they brought forward a presentation with respect to AI. They have an executive summary and a lot of talking about the policies and procedures, and I know that they said they shared it with Township, the lower tiers, earlier this year, and I don't know if you guys had that influenced some of the AI policy that came forward, but certainly they're working on that, and it was really kind of an interesting thing how they did it, because they said, like, it's here, like, it's not a matter of, like, you can't, whether you choose to use it or not, it's already happening, it's impacting and influencing our lives on a daily basis, right? So we need to make sure that we're smart and we're aware, and we're, we've got the rules and regs in place to use it appropriately. We had a presentation from, I felt kind of bad for Sheldon, from the city to talk about the multi-use sports and entertainment complex, that the announcement that the mayor made a couple months ago or whatever, a few weeks ago, and that's when we first found out that, and the county will be expected to contribute some money to that. So anyway, it was an interesting presentation. There were lots of good questions, and it was kind of pointed out that maybe, in the future, you want to come to us before you make the announcements, kind of give us a heads up. Anyway, so we'll see where that goes. And lastly, our official plan, after 4 years, was finally approved. We received the notice that day of the meeting. So and I think about the last couple of things that we've dealt with recently with official plans, if that had been approved, those wouldn't have even needed to occur, right? We didn't know the timelines, and, but we're very grateful that it's done. There's still some things that have to be done. The mapping hasn't quite been completed and all of that. There's still some back and forth, so, but the majority of the plan has been approved finally by the minister, and staff at the county are already working on the joint RFP for rewriting comprehensive zoning bylaws for 4 of the municipalities, because there were 4 of us that were interested in going together on that. So, so that'll be coming forward, probably and hopefully in time for budget, right? So that's it for the county report. Do you have anything else?
Oh, good.
I took it all, I'm sorry. A motion to receive my county report, please. Moved by Ruth Ann, seconded by Jim. All in favor? That's carried. Colin, talk to us about Crowe Valley.
So we're continuing on our sort of summer break, but we will be meeting in a couple weeks here, and I will have a more thorough update for you. But the only thing, and I'm sorry, it jumped out at me on Monday night because I wasn't most interested in my own report here, but the attachment that we have on our agenda, the email address, the line below it says, please do not make this email public. This is a private email address.
Whoops.
So if we can remove that from our public agenda, that would be much appreciated on behalf of the Conservation Authority.
Let's remove that email, but I do want to ask Colin, did the board, because this idea or this suggestion, because I don't know if it's a suggestion or it's just going to happen, but that we're now going to collect the fees for Crowe Valley, did you guys approve that at the board?
No.
So, okay. Because that's the one reason why it's there, but it's also, there's some other stuff that's there in our consent agenda with respect to the makeup of the committee starting the new year, stuff like that. But that was definitely like what we wanted to know was like where that idea came from, because I gotta say, it's like there's a little bit of pushback there in taking on that extra sort of administration. So I look forward to a follow-up report from you when you guys address that. Anyway, okay.
Can I ask a question to Colin?
Yep.
Colin, we've had no problem with Crowe Valley in the last few months. Is this because of the turnover, or? Because, you know, we never got reports that they had no comment.
Actually, right.
Yeah.
Get my microphone back on here.
Perfect.
Sorry.
And this is absolutely not a criticism of any past management, but the new manager is doing an absolutely fantastic job with communication, working with stakeholders, and I believe that that's a reflection of that.
Yeah, she was at county and, you know, everybody was shaking her hand, you know, it was great.
Yeah.
Great.
She's excellent. Okay, motion to receive Colin's report, moved by Ruth Ann, seconded by Jim. All those in favor? That has been received. Adoption of the minutes of the previous meeting of council that was held on July 14th. I have a motion to adopt those minutes, please. Moved by Ruth Ann, seconded by Colin. All those in favor? Okay, those have been adopted. Okay, consent agenda. I didn't receive anything that wanted to be pulled, or anyone that wanted anything pulled, I should say. I did want to make a note, though, just of the letter from Mr. Weldon. It's just a letter of appreciation for our fire department. I got another little letter here for our fire department. I've received several letters, emails, phone calls, conversations, all positive about our firefighters. And I don't think we say it often enough, but I really do appreciate the things that they do. I mean, like I always say, it takes a special kind of person to come to the aid of somebody else, especially if they don't have to. And we have an incredibly dedicated team. They have been very busy this summer dealing with motor vehicle accidents, dealing with structure fires. Like it seems like every weekend they're getting called out for something else. You hear the sirens go. And I just want to take a moment just to acknowledge that, you know, that the public does see that and they are appreciative, and we are very appreciative. We're very fortunate to have the firefighter team that we do have. So I just wanted to highlight that. But if there's nothing, can I have a motion to receive the consent agenda, please? Moved by Colin, seconded by Ruth Ann. All those in favor? That has been received. Okay. Moving right along, staff reports requiring action. Okay, Corey, you're up. Extended warranty for the International Tandem Plow Truck.
Can I turn this on?
Yep, perfect.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, absolutely.
Good morning, yeah, still morning. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for having me here. So I guess this will probably be the first time that we're looking for more money for equipment.
Never happened before.
Never. So my recommendation for this is to purchase the extended warranty on our new plow truck that we did receive. It is, I'm gonna read the recommendation in full. The council approves the purchase of the international service contract proposal number SCP-20210 for the new tandem plow truck RFT-02-23 in the amount of $11,302 plus applicable taxes and the cost to be funded from future capital reserves. So with the new vehicles, the new trucks, they've all got emissions, stronger emission systems on them. They gotta be in compliance, right? So all the new diesel engines, they burn DEF fluid, which is diesel exhaust fluid. I'm not sure if anybody's familiar with it, but it's another additive. Carolyn, you would be.
I know about DEF fluid.
So there's a lot of issues surrounding it, and it causes a lot of issues with their expensive parts. It's hard to diagnose sometimes. It's becoming more of a practice to put these extended warranties on these systems. I know even some of our trucks that we have currently, some of our 2014 Western Stars, just to replace the muffler on it, that has all the, basically that system, all the DEFs in that muffler, it's like $20,000. So like I say, this, I know the two new trucks that we're supposed to receive this year, early next year, I believe you approved the extended warranty on them. So I think that based on based on some of the issues we've been having with some of the older trucks, that this would be beneficial to the new truck we got. And it is worth saying, it is a newer engine design as well.
Right.
So it wouldn't be it's just what comes in them now. So it might not be. This is also for the engine as well as the after treatment system. So
okay. Jim.
And I take it this new coverage covers the catalytic converter, or catalytic and the muffler and all that system, does it?
Yeah.
As well as engine parts and so on and so forth?
Yeah, it covers engine issues and the after treatment, yes, for sure.
Okay. And how long is that for again?
It is for a total of, I believe it's 84 months.
Okay.
Yeah, it's 84 months.
Not eh?
Yeah, it was, yeah.
I have lived experience of the benefits of having an extended warranty on my vehicle. So I don't think that this is an unreasonable request, and I know it's certainly with the newer vehicles, and I can't even repeat some of the words I've heard about DEF fluid and dealing with the emissions and anything else, because it is a frustration and it is a big cost. And it's frustrating when all of a sudden it goes into limp mode and you can't go anywhere, and it's just like, so yeah. Anybody want to move that recommendation? Ruth Ann does. Jim, you'll second it. All those in favor? That's approved. Thanks, Corey.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, and we have second quarter financial activities, and our treasurer isn't here today, but we have Shannon instead. Hi, Shannon.
Thank you, Marriott and Council. So Judy has prepared the second quarter financial activities, and in review, there were really overall not a lot that is over substantially or under substantially of the 50% without the reasons stated, and everything is looking in line.
Okay, all right, is there any questions?
Pretty straightforward.
Okay.
Motion to receive.
Okay, moved by Colin, seconded by Ruth Ann. Excuse me, all in favor? That has been received a draft procurement policy. Is this you again? It's you again. Yeah, of course it is. Okay.
I actually will call Jason up to
Oh,
the
perfect.
front because we're kind of a tag team on this.
All right. Come on up, Jason.
So through you, Mayor Amiot.
Yeah.
We have done further extensive research into a procurement policy for the township. We have taken training through a procurement specialist solicitor. It was very beneficial and the topic was specific to Buy Ontario. We also have met with the County of Peterborough staff who were fantastic and provided large quantities of information and applications and processes that they themselves are using and had very in-depth conversations. So we've tried to, through the draft procurement policy that is put before you, address all of the concerns that were provided from council, and we believe that we've answered them throughout the policy. With one, it's not that we didn't answer it. The one issue that was raised was that it was felt that it was council really wanted to have a very strong Buy Ontario commitment throughout the procurement policy. However, recommendations from two different solicitors or legal counsel and from other staff members at different organizations, it is recommended that our Buy Ontario stays with the legislation that's in place. Because if we go out further, we are tying our hands because this is a moving target. There's going to be that is felt that there's more directives that will come. So with us listing Buy Ontario and all applicable legislation in our policy, it is allowing us that we will just be able to constantly be moving as the directives are being approved. Stating this, a lot of the actions will come forth through our bidding documents. And each bidding document will change. We'll have a standard bidding document, but each document will change with whatever we're procuring.
Right.
Because if there's a directive attached through Buy Ontario, so buying a vehicle or construction, we're governed to follow the rules of Buy Ontario, and we actually provided you with another document, the domestic supply chain plan, that will assist us for those items. But staff, we discussed how are we going to approach a more further Buy Ontario with things that aren't covered, and so that we have an option. Our bidding documents, we feel that we will ask that people provide a Buy Ontario approach.
Yep.
But we'll follow process from our procurement policy. And I'm not sure, Jason, if you had anything further to add.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor and Council. I don't think I do, actually, Shannon, you covered that very well. But yeah, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Okay. All right. Perfect. You have questions? What? I know this is your thing.
I guess I have a reputation here.
We know this is your bag, Betty.
So first off, I'm very pleased with the updates, and I can tell that a lot of hard work has gone into this, and a lot of good work has been done here. And my final sort of two bugaboos are more political than operational. I don't think just blanket applying Buy Ontario would be sort of the best idea, but I do still think there's some area for local interest to be incorporated. And in my mind, if there's a community that should understand that lowest cost doesn't always equal public interest, it should be a community where our groceries cost a little bit more, our gas costs a little bit more. These aren't just businesses, this is sort of critical community infrastructure. And being able to support our critical community infrastructure through local interest is beneficial in my mind. And then secondly, I still think there's opportunity to include the ability for us to use an online RFP system. I don't think it needs to be used for every purchase, but not including it within the document ties our hands not to be able to use it. When the CFTA was drafted 9 years ago, it would sort of almost be considered standard practice then. It was the first on the list of places to post a notice of intent. And AMO's notice of intent suggests, or notice of intent recommendation also suggests using an online party. So I believe this is sort of standard operating practice for municipalities, and we should have it included in our procurement bylaw, even if it's not utilized at every single purchase.
Go ahead.
Through you, Mayor Amiat.
Okay, use your mic. Sorry. I don't know if I asked you the first.
Yes,
Sorry.
I can. Usually I'm loud enough. So just for clarification, are you referring to like a bidding, a company that would, for RFPs, that we would use online?
Through you, Madam Mayor, it would be a portal like Merck's, where we can go post our RFP, say we want a tractor, and every vendor in Canada would see North Kawartha wants a tractor. We're not limiting our vendors at all. I think it actually gives us great opportunity to get more responses to some of our RFPs, and post it that way rather than just doing it through our own website, social media, where vendors may not be quite as active.
Thank you for the clarification, and staff actually spoke about looking at costs to add in the budget process for consideration for a third-party application that could be used for this.
The final follow-up would be then I believe that we have to update our procurement bylaw so we're able to use that process.
I believe we have something stating in there the utilization of electronic submissions.
Okay. Sorry, I thought I would finish here. I would just maybe clarify that electronic submissions can be sort of emails. Like I think it's worth stating that we'd be using an online portal system, but I don't know for sure on that one. That's just my thought hearing that. I'm not trying to argue here.
Yep, go ahead. Yep.
If it's council's desire for that inclusion to allow for the possibility, but not a commitment that we actually would, we could add the wording for future for an online procurement option into the document without bringing it back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, we can do that. I mean, it's a simple enough thing to do. And as long as we're not tying our hands, excuse me, one way or another, then yeah, I don't have an issue with it. No, so. Any other questions or comments? I do appreciate the work that you guys put into this, and as you said, like, it is a moving target. Things are changing all the time. Relations are not getting any better with our neighbor to the south. So, which is, you know, the biggest cause for an impact on policies like this anyway. So, but we're making our way through it, and we got to make sure that we're in line with our provincial father, as it were, right? We are children of the province. So, Jim, do you want to?
I make a recommendation that council pass the bylaw adopting the procurement policy with the one addition.
Yeah. As identified by Shannon.
As identified.
Yeah. Perfect. Okay, a seconder for that is Colin. All those in favor? That's approved. Okay. What is next? Oh, Township Lake Road. Yay! I saw your head pop up there. Woo! Everybody's favorite topic since I've been mayor. Anyway, is this you, Jason?
Yes.
All right. Take it away, Jason.
Yeah, this is just a kind of an update for council on where we're at with Township Lake Road, because I know it's been a bit of an issue. I'm not going to go into the depth in the report. You've read it all, but we have reviewed the file. Staff feel comfortable moving forward with the process of installing the culvert And we are making, our public works department's making arrangements for installation in the fall. So in the fall, we should have it done.
Perfect. Thank you.
Think it'll stay there?
Through you, Mayor.
No, the last one didn't.
Well, this,
Yeah, we have put enough money in the capital budget to put the culvert sized appropriately.
Oh, okay.
There was a hydrology study done at the time, so the culvert sized appropriately, and there is some ingress and egress improvements in the budget to prevent it from washing out in the future.
good. I know a snowmobile club that'll be very happy.
Yes, that's
I
right.
know snowmobile clubs will, but should we be getting rid of that road? I mean, you can't drive it unless you got a tank.
Well, Shannon, I saw you just pull forward, so. Speak.
Actually, you'll notice in Mr. Post's report, there is reference to a report will be coming back in the future.
Yep.
Providing recommendations on all limited service roads that the municipality holds.
Yes, I did note that, and the timing, considering the presentation we had earlier. I mean, that, you know, it's not in isolation. There are several municipal roads that do have limited or seasonal maintenance, so it is something that we do need to look at. But for right now, this is a good thing. So, anybody want to move the is there, no, it's just for report, it's received for information. Sorry, I shut it down, right? That's all it is, there's no motion?
There's no.
Okay, perfect. Okay. Thank you, that's great. All right, Shannon, back to you for vacation policy, flexible work arrangement policy, and acting pay. Looks like you're doing some tidying.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Amiot. It's a busy little office these last few months. So in reviewing multiple of the plans that have been received and recommendations put forward on what expectations, one of the highlighted items was the complete review of the human resources policies and procedures. We do have quite a few policies and procedures put in place, and we do have a plan going forward, but it is felt that we wanted to correct and put forward, we're going to do this in a priority manner until we get a lot of the items that have need addressed. So the three policies that are before you today are actually policies, a lot of them we're not changing the intent. A lot of them are administrative procedures that are being addressed, and procedures that we're currently performing, we just need the policies to reflect the actions that we're doing.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
And you feel the actions as we're doing them now are all in line with as they should be, because there's always somebody from a department to be in the office.
Went through you, Mariana. Yes, actually, our flex time policy, or the compressed work week pilot program that was put in place, staff are very diligent to make sure that each department has adequate coverage. And I have, in my last 2 months here, witnessed it's a very well received program from staff. And everyone is very conscientious of other staff members and the public to make sure that there is the adequate coverage.
Thanks, Shannon.
Okay. And I noted in there too, like it's something that is reviewed on a regular basis, right? So you don't kind of lose sight of it, and you know, if it stops not being as good, right? So, any other questions or comments on those?
With the recommendation.
Okay, that we approve the policies.
3 of them.
Yep, okay, as presented. All right, moved by Jim, seconded by Ruthann. All those in favor? Those are approved. Thank you. And, oh, yes, thank you. Go ahead, Shannon.
Thank you, Mary.
I wanted this for a long time. I'm just excited, I'm sorry.
So this I will give some background. So this was one of the items that was actually discussed through Mayor Amiot when we first met. And this provided an opportunity for myself and for the management team to actually go through all of our plans that have been approved by council and all of the past few years, the minutes, to list all of the outstanding items and realization that part of our communication with council, this document that I have provided you outlines where we are. A lot of items are on the go that will be reported to council through quarterly. And the next one will be coming up in September for strategic plan and the comprehensive employee survey implementation plan. So you will receive a lot of details through those two when it's reported. But the other item is a lot of times council provides direction to staff, and those motions, some, I'm not saying they get lost, we just kind of put them on the back burner. This way, it allows for council and staff to always be aware of items that are on the go, where we are, and for us to be able to report to council on a monthly basis. So I'm reporting this way for this meeting, but going forward monthly, this document will form part of the consent agenda.
So it'll be like a road report, emergency report and so on. That's great, that's great.
Yeah. If I may, to myself. Well, I did, yeah, thanks. I was made aware of this a few years ago, and it was through another municipality, actually Norwood, where I saw on their agendas what they had, and I'm like, oh, that is such a good idea, right? Because we all know we have a lot of things on our plate, and things that, like there's, fires we got to put out, things that come up that are a high priority, and then you forget about things, and but it's not that they're not important or anything else, but we have a lot of back burners and we have a lot of front burners, right? And it's just, things get lost in the shuffle. So having something that comes forward on a regular basis, like Shannon said, that just kind of, provides that, like, gives us that, like, to look at, to say, okay, hey, yeah, it's still on the list, and then where are we with that? And we can kind of follow up and we can ask questions, right? It would be another part of the consent agenda, like before we come to council on Tuesday, give the mayor a heads up to say, hey, I want to pull this, on the action list, and just kind of get a little bit of a status report or, whatever. But I think this is a great thing. It's a great tool to keep us sort of on track and make sure that things don't fall through the cracks and take a long time to get done. So anyway, thank you for this. I really appreciate it. Any questions or comments?
You don't need a motion on that or anything.
I just receive it, but Colin.
Just two things to pull from it as quickly as possible. One, a lot of effort and research went into the short-term rental advisory committee. And I appreciate that you can't put 3 paragraphs under each one of these items. But are you able just to expand on what monitoring short-term rentals, the report back to council, what that might look like, just for anyone interested?
Go ahead.
Thank you, through you, Mary. I keep wanting to call you Carol.
You can, it's all right. We're pretty relaxed around here, it's all right.
So what I did when I made this list with a comment, I tried to summarize the motion that was passed by council. So council directed staff to monitor activity this season, to bring back a report in the fall. There weren't further details in that resolution unless council or Edward would like to add to it.
No, I think the idea was, because we had those recommendations and some of which are being acted on, was that we didn't feel there was a need to sort of like implement anything else at the time, but that we should like keep an eye on things, because if something changes, we're going to need to go back, right, and look at sort of the action items that were that were presented in that report, because it may be time to, so it's basically just, we just don't want to lose track of it, right? Like, so that's why it's there. That was my understanding anyway.
Yeah, right, and just to follow up, I agree with Carolyn, this is an amazing document. I'm so happy that this is gonna be sort of a living document that will be on our agendas. I think this is a great step forward. And just to follow these as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
The boundary signage and tender construction, is there a reason that's gone to the clerk's department instead of public works?
Because it's.
Through Mayor, the boundary signage would actually be handled by the MTO. So in terms of what the resolution that was brought earlier is with the standard MTO signage separate from the other signage projects that we're doing from that perspective. I think the boundary signage in reference to the MTO signage specifically in that case from earlier this year.
Yeah, that's the one that says like, that we don't have it, and it was like whether we want to enhance. You know, and we're like, no, we're not gonna spend that amount of money on the enhanced because we'll get better bang for our buck with our lovely new signs and logos, so go ahead.
Thank you. Also, just for council's clarification, when I tried to do department, and some of these actions, for clarification, Edward is under the clerk's department.
Yeah.
So that's why it says clerk.
Yeah, there's some that.
Kelly's doing it all, other than Shannon.
Midway through the document, it transitions from clerk, economic development officer, to clerk, so it kind of made it look like Kelly was gonna be out there doing the signs.
I'm sorry, because at the beginning of the document, there wasn't motions. Those were just items we were made aware that didn't fall under the strategic plan or the employee comprehensive implementation plan.
Okay. All right, so there you go, folks. Motion to receive the management action list report for information. Moved by Jim, seconded by Ruth Ann. All those in favor? That's been received. All right, thank you. And last staff report is Edward. Yeah, you get to sneak away there, Jason. Thanks. Good. Yep. Yeah, we can. Do you want to take right now? Like,
No, I can. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Okay. All right, Edward.
Coffee and water here.
I get it.
I'll try to be quick.
No worries.
The staff report I'm just bringing as part of the economic development strategic plan with under infrastructure, internet and cell service. So I just kind of emphasized and brought the updates with the numerous projects that are happening or had been planned to be happening in the township, including the accelerated high-speed internet program, Lot 10, that was Rogers, and then Lot 35 Bell, which is from Apsley up to Highlands East. So unfortunately with Lot 10 Rogers, as of the most information we have currently, there's been no update, no progress made on that project. So basically after 5 years, there's been no activity brought forward by Rogers in the township, which is extremely disappointing because they basically won the bid for most of the township. Lot 35 Bell, that work has started. A couple properties have started to be connected up on Eels Lake. And we believe that the properties that are adjacent kind of from the Apsley Central Office up to Eels Lake will be brought online over the next year as well. With the Eeyore and Cell Gap project, a couple sites have been built over the winter and the spring, including the two on Jack Lake, the one on 504 and one up at Rose Island, just out on the other side of the township boundary. So that is, I think, a positive movement in terms of additional LTE and 5G coverage in the township. And then unfortunately, especially with Bell, there's been a couple outages that happened over the last couple months, and talked with some business owners that were sometimes out for a week, a couple weeks at a time with no service. As well, that again, what a lot of Bell and Telus customers have seen, that especially in sometimes that ongoing congestion issue, that's especially prevalent even here right in Apsley in the summertime. So that's something that myself has brought back to Eeyore in terms of trying to bring that forward to Bell within their municipal relations. And as well, just bring up that at County Council with the Economic Development summer students, they did have their presentation. And one of the challenges for businesses that was brought up in their presentation was internet and cell coverage as well, was identified in their presentation as well. So at County Council. So the Eorn Cell Gap project again has been, with the sites coming online this summer is a positive movement, but unfortunately, especially with the accelerated high-speed internet program with Rogers, that has been disappointing because there's no fiber optic that's planned in the short term and leaving customers and businesses either having to go with wireless or satellite service, but unfortunately those options do have their limitations, and it is something that, it's still important to move forward in terms of offering, improved broadband services in the township is important, especially for businesses here moving forward.
Okay. Thanks, Edward. It has been a frustrating summer, but there's been some positives. So, is there any questions or comments?
Yeah, it's sort of a semi-related one, but I think other people have heard about this. So this year, and I believe this ties back into cell phone towers, which is why I'm bringing this up now. There seems to be new light pollution in our night sky. There's a flashing light that can be seen all the way over at Chandos Lake. And I've spent a lot of time trying to figure out where this may be coming from. And if we go to Mill Lake Road, it looks like Pearson Airport at night. It's actually, I am pretty convinced, the Tucker's Road Tower. I'm not sure if there was an angle change on the lights or bulbs were replaced, but I'm very convinced that the light for the top of that tower is now visible over on Chandos when there's low cloud cover. So I'm not sure if there's any investigation that can be done or if it's a new standard, because if this is the new standard, then rural Ontario is gonna look like Las Vegas pretty soon.
So theory on the new tower on 504, when the site was commissioned, I don't know the full details, but there was a notice to airmen that's put out by NAV Canada about lighting on that tower. So I don't know if there was, basically what happened was when the site was commissioned, it went to its the highest intensity lighting 24/7, which is not normal procedure. Normally there'd be a white strobe during the daytime, and then usually it goes to a steady red on and off at night. But I did notice and check with NAV Canada that there was a notice put out about that site specifically. So I believe there is an identified issue with that location that was put out. So, and a notice was put out for aircraft about that site specifically.
Sorry, it's actually the Tucker's Road one on the other side of Highway 28 that's all the way visible over in West Bay.
It was, yeah, I did have people comment on it, and then after I went back and spoke to you, they came back and said that it wasn't an issue for them now, that it was doing the red.
Okay.
As opposed to the flashing white.
So yeah,
but I don't know, maybe it happened again.
Is there another light? Have you seen this like recently? Like last night? I'm sorry, which towers are flashing us?
Last night, yes, on Mill Lake Road. I wasn't on Chandos, I was at home. But actually, yeah, last night I was walking down it and just went, oh my gosh, that's bright.
Okay.
So I'll just, from experience, and this has happened at a couple other sites in the past. So on a tower, there's a couple different aeronautical lights. So again, that depending on the height, there's regulations on how many, depending on usually in terms of the height above ground or average above terrain around it. But usually there's a default or a safety fallback that if one of the bulbs somewhere on the tower fail, or there's another issue with the light sensor, that it does default to the most intense lighting. And then once a repair or something can be done, it goes back to the normal lighting pattern. So it could be that there was a failure in one of the other bulbs or something, and it'll default to the most safe solution, which is full intense lighting 24/7. But once those issues are usually addressed, and they kind of go back to that standard, more softer white during the day and then red at night, so.
Thank you.
I just want to say one thing, and it's interesting because, I mean, I don't know if it's the same thing, maybe it's the price issue that makes people switch back and forth for their different providers, right, when you're in an urban area, but rurally up here for many years, I've gone back and forth between all different kinds of providers. It's whoever has the latest and the greatest in terms of the technology, right? So it's been, you know, Rogers Cell, Bell Internet, back and forth or whatever. I finally, after being in almost 2 weeks of challenges with Bell, because they couldn't find me, we finally got our 5 hooked up. And it's unbelievable. And when I called Rogers to cancel my internet service with Rogers, and they asked the reason why, and I said, because I now have 5, they're like, oh, enough said, here's the code, send it back through Canada Post, you're good. Like, they know. And I mean, at the time when Rogers came and made that available, it was, they have a little antenna thing on our roof or whatever, it worked great. But every year with the congestion and there's more people on it, it just gets worse and worse and worse. The speeds, like, I did a speed test on both and I'm like just blown away. So I'm surprised because Eels Lake usually is the last to get anything because we're kind of on the boundary there.
And Struthers a lot.
Okay, sorry, pardon me. We fight for that title, but I have to say it is wonderful, and hopefully, you know, the municipal office here, because you're on that path with the 5, that you guys will get it, because it's amazing. I can't believe the difference now. Now I just gotta deal with my Bell mobility. Maybe I've dropped Rogers for internet, maybe I'm gonna pick them up through my phone, but it's tough. It's tough to have to go back and forth, and it's not a level playing field for our residents and our businesses to not have access to good quality internet and cell coverage. It's just, yeah, so whatever we can do. So I appreciate this update. I know you're on it and you're working with it, and hopefully improvements will continue. So with that, can I have a motion to receive? Okay, moved by Jim to receive it, seconded by Colin. All those in favor? That report is received, and we're going to take a quick break. All right, and we're back for the last little bit of our agenda. We have correspondence for action or for discussion, and the first one is the Ministry of Energy and Mines Municipal Energy Plan Program Review, and it's an invitation to provide feedback. I don't know if anybody has any questions or comments on it, or if we want to, as a municipality, provide feedback, but the deadline is August 22nd, I believe. Yeah, I'm looking at it right there. The survey's open from, well, it's open now, but till the 22nd. So that's just on there for information, I guess. Does somebody want to receive that for information then? But it's there publicly, so folks can do so if they want. So moved by Jim, seconded by Ruth Ann. All those in favor? That's been received. And last but not least is the operational performance review summary provided by the MTO regarding Highway 28 and
Beautiful report.
Yes, it is, isn't it? Okay, I'll give a bit of background here anyway, because people know, right? 2 years ago in the summer of 2024, I initiated the Highway 28 Mayor's Coalition to come together to work collaboratively to address the safety issues and concerns on the highway. And there have been some back and forth, and we did get support. 9 of the 11 municipalities along Highway 28 did join in, and we were granted a delegation at Roma in January of 2025 with the parliamentary assistant to the Minister of Transportation, who is Rick Brisay. He's actually the MPP for Bancroft area, and so he's well aware of the road. Anyway, and the result, it was very well received, our delegation, and one of the requests was to have the safety review done. And so we have been waiting patiently. They undertook it, they agreed to do it, they did it last summer, and it was last fall. They were like, we'll bring the findings forward once it's complete, and then it was, okay, later in the fall, and then it was gonna be in the winter time, and then it was like in the spring. Anyway, we finally had a meeting. It was June 25th. It was a Zoom meeting with mayors and OPP And that's when we didn't have this written report. It was just, and staff was there too. And I know Corey was there and Jesse, our fire chief as well. And bring forward their findings. And so it was an hour meeting and we kind of had some back and forth. And anyway, and I kind of left the meeting going, you know, like this is, I'm not sure that they really understood what we were asking and whether or not this met any of our requests. But anyway, I immediately responded back and said, I need something in writing because I need to bring this forward to council and members of the public are going to want to know about this because it's a big issue for all of us. Anyway, so we finally got it. I announced it at our last council meeting. It literally came through that day. I was hoping that we would have got it in time for the July council meeting. But anyway, so we got it, and then when I finally read it, and my reaction was like, I am not satisfied. And speaking with other mayors as well, and with some staff, and you know, we're not. I think they're not really getting it, and it's not adequately addressing the concerns that we've raised, and it does identify, you know, a lot of different things, but at the same time, it's just, like I said, it just felt to be rather perfunctory, and it was almost as if, like, here you go, things are complete now, this is the final, and I'm like, this is not the end, this is the beginning of something. We're not just gonna say, okay, thanks very much, and carry on. So I just want to summarize, because I have created a draft letter that I did circulate out to council and some staff, as a response back that, you know, if approved by council, that I want to send back, but also make sure that the coalition of mayors is involved, our MPs, Peterborough County, OPP folks as well. But some of the key concerns identified in the response letter, and it's primarily reads as a current conditions assessment, and it concludes that the highway is operating acceptably, but it doesn't provide the broader safety analysis that we requested. It doesn't have the corridor-wide trend line analysis for the volumes and the collision frequency, the severity, and the wildlife-related speed stuff, all of that, turning movements. It doesn't clearly identify the thresholds or triggers that would lead the MTO to consider safety improvements, like turning lanes and speed management and rumble strips, all of that stuff. It doesn't fully address the collision hot zones and high activity areas along the corridor. The operational impacts that you know, happen to us as rural municipalities and our volunteer emergency services, which include those extended road closures and limited detour options. So my letter basically has several requests, and it's a written addendum or supplemental response with the trend line analysis and location-specific assessments of all the identified hot zones. It's pretty clear. I specified it in terms of they can't just pick and choose. We know it. We've seen it on the maps, and even getting, you know, some of the information from our fire chief, Jesse was good to provide, and you've seen it even, you know, this past summer. 3 accidents happened in the Long Lake Road area on Highway 28, and since January 2025, there's been like 8 of them. At Leahy's down in Selwyn-Durham Dummer Township, that intersection there with, I think it's Lakefield County Road 33, there's been 4 or 5 of them just this summer. So it's those, and I just don't know that information is kind of trickling up. So, that's an example. But clear warrant thresholds, safety performance indicators, and decision triggers for possible countermeasures, a monitoring plan that identifies the data collection, the review timelines, consultation with municipalities and the OPP, regular communication with Highway 28 municipalities, a defined MTO point of contact for corridor safety matters. I have a number of residents, and I'm sure our staff get them too, where they're complaining about different things and coming to us, and I say, you know, it's not our jurisdiction, it's the MTO, and they're like, okay, well, can you give us a contact? I'm like, I'd love to, but I don't know who to send you to because I don't know that you're gonna get a response. So, a collaborative education and enforcement strategy that involves the MTO and the OPP and the municipalities, and confirmation of the status and timing of the actions that were identified in the OPR. At the end of the day, I guess I have a level of frustration because I just feel because it's really a breakdown in communication, and I think that if we can at least work towards, you know, at the base level, just getting a good communication, establishing regular communication with a person that we know will act and address these things, that's going to go a long way towards helping us address some of these things. Because, I mean, like I said in our thing, we're not asking for major capital improvements to be happening right now, but we need to understand what it is that is going to trigger, those things that are going to help address the safety concerns and issues. And I have to say that Jesse said it years ago in one of our meetings that we had when we got the community safety zones established in our municipality, because the MTO seems to think, that the importance put on an accident or a collision, if it's a fatality or not. And Jesse said it perfectly. He said, fatal or not, every accident is a life-changing event for all of the people that are involved, not just the victims, but our first responders, our emergency responders, the OPP, our firefighters, how frustrating it is to go back to the same location time and again to another collision that has occurred. It is a challenge. So while I appreciate that they did provide this report and I appreciate some of the steps they are taking, it's not enough. There needs to be more done. And I recognize that we're in a different time right now because it's an election year, but I am hopeful that the Mayor's Coalition will carry on into the new term with whatever mayors, are elected, and that we continue to work collaboratively with the MTO to address the issues on Highway 28. So that's it in a nutshell. And I would welcome any comments and thoughts on the letter. And I do have a motion as well at the end to make sure that we send it off to the right people if it's approved to be sent. So call it.
Just a quick question about the procedure here.
Yeah.
So when this was originally presented to you, you weren't given it in writing. So were you aware of the scope of the study when this was first presented to you, or did that only come on the secondary request?
The little maps and things. Well, they were we had a Zoom meeting, so there was a shared screen, and they put up some of the things. They always studied this area, and I remember thinking at the time, why did you do Young's Point? That wasn't even what I asked. I was right? You didn't do Leahy, you didn't do any of the things. It was so it was there, but like I said, we didn't have it in front, and it was we had 1 hour, it was all up there, and then it was kind of some back and forth. I responded as best I could to some of the things, so did some of the other folks that were there, but it was no, we're done, and send us the written stuff, because I need time to look at it and to review it and to have a full understanding of what was there. So
anyway, and I'm going to take a while here, so I'm not sure if anyone else wants to go ahead, or I can get started here, but I too was not satisfied with the report is probably the way that I would leave it. We've been waiting for this report for nearly 2 years. To say it's disappointing is, in my opinion, an understatement. If the suggestions that 28 did not require capital improvement, and that was based on a fair, comprehensive assessment, I could accept it. But I do not see this report as being fair and comprehensive. The scope of an assessment like this is critical to ensuring a report of value returns. I cannot understand the operational decisions made to arrive at the conclusions in this report. Starting with segment 1, the MTO selected one of the portions more recently receiving capital improvement of the Young's Point traffic link, a situation where I imagine they had very little flexibility in geometry. They also chose to capture the longest left-hand turning lane in our region. Finally, one of 2 genuine right-hand turning lanes on 28 was captured. This infrastructure is not similar to the rest of Highway 28 in our region. If it were, I think we would have far fewer accidents. This quality of sampling is, in my opinion, not appropriate for a provincial safety report. Jumping ahead to segment 3, given the amount of discussion about ice cream at Roma, the MTO needed to include this stretch. In my opinion, this dense stretch, posted at a speed rarely seen in our region, is also not representative of the totality of 28. The Kawartha Dairy comments in the report are an excellent indicator of why the Ministry of the Solicitor General needs to be involved in the next steps. I believe no reasonable person could have left our Roma delegation thinking that the amount of time waiting to turn into Kawartha Dairy was the primary concern of that township. The primary concern was very clearly public safety. It may have been a strategic error on our part, but until reviewing this report, I was not aware of how siloed traffic movement and public safety are in this province. Moving to segment 2, our stretch. Another segment dominated by a portion recently having undergone major capital work at Haltane Bridge. The only intersection considered is, in my opinion, the lowest priority in this segment. Haltane Transfer Station is one of two, seasonally one of one, transfer stations open at a given time in North Kawartha. I cannot understand why this very high traffic, heavy industrial site was not considered. Sending a heavy single unit design vehicle on a road designed for 100 kilometers an hour going uphill back towards Bensford Road from a stop is not ideal. Of greater concern is not including the Eels Creek Rest area, also within the scope's boundaries. This is a civil engineer's worst nightmare. Downhill entry on both sides, passing opportunity coming northbound, a busy site with washrooms and waste bins and future county wayfinding. This is a high traffic rest area designed in part to attract tired drivers. There are no barriers providing wide open ingress and egress over 100 meters on both sides. The lack of pavement markings leads to temporary boundaries being created immediately roadside by vehicles with trailers. Heading down there this weekend to check it out, I had to hard brake in a chain of traffic coming down the hill for someone turning in, and I almost pulled out beside someone else trying to turn right to exit. Given the importance of scopes and their non-arbitrary selection, I was surprised when I noticed our segment's northern boundary. Eels Creek Park Road does not exist, full stop. It is someone's long driveway identified and named by Google AI based on their proximity to the rest area. This isn't on Apple Maps. More importantly, this isn't on our GIS, the first place I looked, or the provincial road network. I wonder if this is the first AI hallucinated road to play a noteworthy role in an MTO safety report. A study based on infrastructure not seen elsewhere, speed limits not commonly seen elsewhere, and a recently redone portion with questionable intersection choices bound by an AI-generated road raises significant concerns over credibility. Focusing on the ground truth between these segments tells a different story. Many of our major intersections appear to fail MTO standards, some significantly so. Our right-hand tapers range from short to shorter. It appears the MTO identified this as important in amending section 914.3 of the national guidelines. The MTO specifies that taper-only designs are justified to a maximum design speed of 70 kilometers an hour, and deceleration of vehicles should take place in the through lane, or where traffic is impeded, consideration should be given to the design technique of a taper plus parallel lane. It feels like the ministry may have learned from their past accidents and investigations and updated their standards, but not their roads. I took time this weekend to learn about junction theory, read sections of ministry manuals, and hit the highway with my high-vis and a measuring wheel. Jeff Road, a provincial emergency detour route, has a 33-meter aggressively sharp taper adjacent to a guardrail. Depending on design speed of that portion, this appears to represent a 45% or 53% deficiency of taper length. We have no deceleration lane, where the MTO is suggesting an 85 or 100-meter lane after the taper. At its widest, the taper gives drivers a non-compliant 2.6-meter wide pocket, leaving large vehicles and towed pontoon boats partially in the through lane while making that turn. All on a major blind bend in the highway. I think we can all remember road closures and helicopter visits at that intersection. Eels Lake Road, no left-hand turn at a busy intersection facing a blind slope, an apparent insufficient right turn taper with no deceleration lane, leading into an immediate bend and blind hill on a gravel road. Paved transitions decompensated to the point of being subjectively more hazardous than helpful. Of note, the province controls large tracts of the Bancroft-Minden forest through this road, attracting heavy logging traffic to the intersection. I think we can all remember recent road closures and helicopter visits at that intersection. Our mayor showed good judgment in pushing for analysis and improvement at park entry points. Unfortunately, none were considered in this report. To try and briefly assist in addressing Mayor Amiott's very legitimate concerns, I'll run over the three major ones as quickly as possible. Coon Lake Road. This is a near mirror of the North School Road intersection, the best right-hand turn on 28 that also happened to be captured in the scope. Major curve. Vehicles accelerating out of Burley Falls reduced speed zone. An apparent insufficient right turn taper. No deceleration lane. Missing an entire road sign northbound, causing vehicles to frequently come to a complete stop with no indication of an intersection's existence to other drivers. I've been told the MTO is aware of this. Long Lake Road, no right-hand taper or deceleration lane. major curve, like other intersections discussed, this actually lengthens the taper and lane length requirements. I'm using straight line numbers. Minimize sight lengths at the intersection. The community post box that is almost on Highway 28 is a different discussion for a different day. And Struther Lake Road, oh boy. Once again, significant bend, no tapers or turning lanes in either directions. Vehicles are accelerating out of Apsley speed reduction zone. As of early August, a sedan or small SUV like mine has greatly obstructed viewing at the intersection and need to creep forward towards the highway to see oncoming traffic. Wild carrot flower, a former noxious but very invasive weed, is blocking my view. There were visible dry seed heads and plants growing on the highway side of the guardrail. I would be interested in knowing the contracted minimum maintenance standards for controlling wild carrot on Highway 28. Somehow even worse, the reflectors. The people of North Kawartha have been staging an ad hoc safety campaign at this intersection for years. What began as tape chevrons transitioned to a full reflective tape. Now we have people applying spray paint to provincial infrastructure. Clearly, they should not feel the need to do so. The Ontario Traffic Manual, Provincial Standard Drawings, and Roadside Design Manual all call for reflectors to follow the curve on guardrail breaks into an intersection. Just outside of 620 and 628, you can see this. And Struther Lake's guardrails do not have reflectors beyond the ones running parallel to Highway 28. This creates an illusion of an unbroken guardrail with the risk of impairing driver judgment making that turn. The visual clues and cries for help of this have existed for years, yet the MTO has not addressed this. The sign replacement improvements suggested in this report do not mention this. Safety on 28 does not stop at sunset. I think we can all remember recent road closures and helicopter visits at all three of those intersections. The MTO report notes there was one fatal accident in the scope window. In my opinion, our province's capable air ambulance service is not a replacement for safety infrastructure. Again, I would like the Ministry of the Solicitor General involved at ground level. The MTO's formula of crash plus death equals 1 should not be considered a good representation of holistic public safety. I'm taking enough time, but the list goes on. Dunfords, Mount Julian Biomeat, significant length issues, commercial entrance issues, proximity to passing opportunity and passing lane issues, vertical alignment issues. These are the safety concerns of Highway 28. I am aware our shield geography does not make improvement straightforward. I also acknowledge that we may not be able to make Highway 28 meet all modern standards. The single best right-hand turn taper, aside from the Unicorn at North School Road, in our assessment area, was built to service a mine that closed 44 years ago. A comprehensive reassessment isn't just necessary, it's decades overdue. My 4-month-old nephew recently went down 28 back to London. One of my nearly 12-year-old niece's first trips in the front seat will be down the highway on the way back to the airport. Each of my friends and neighbors travel on 28. All of my constituents rely on the highway. Pretty well anyone that's been to North Kawartha has been on Highway 28. There's a difference between grandfathering infrastructure and abandonment. On behalf of all the above, I am feeling abandoned. There's a risk of committees slowing things down. Having said that, considering all of what I've addressed, I feel we need to strike a working group with municipal participation, MTO participation, OPP or other Ministry of the Solicitor General participation, and representatives from both local MPP's office. This group represents the operational side of government with regards to road engineering and public safety. This also brings together a political group representing the public interest and having legislative ties to transportation, formerly parks, and the elephant in the room, finance. The voices needed to ensure a study respectful of our taxpayers' money and safety should meet prior to the necessary re-administration of the whole process. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you very much. And actually, I have a couple of additions now. But in terms of circulating, a motion or whatever, that, yeah, we should include the Solicitor General. I've included the OPP, but also the Minister of the MTO as well. Not just, the MPs are in there. And Rick is, like I said, the Parliamentary Assistant to the MTO Minister, but they should also be in that list anyway. But I think, you know what, it's something, like I said, when I started off the presentation at Roma, My involvement with advocating for greater safety on Highway 28 began the first year that I was mayor, and that was one of the first sort of meetings I had with, a different level of government, was had MTO staff come here. And it was after an accident that occurred on the hill at Haltane, where a friend and neighbor of mine on Eels Lake was killed. And ever since then, it's sort of just, it's been one of those things kind of back and forth. We've worked on it, done a video with the OPP, we got the community safety zones, and then, like I said, the most recent iteration was the mayor's coalition. So I think, work has been done, attention's being drawn to it, and we're hearing about it more and more, but like I identified, like Colin identified, like we all see it, more needs to be done. And I know from you guys, and I do want to just say again, thanks to Jason and to Jesse for providing some excellent information for me to kind of pull all together, a response. And as well, Corey was there too. Has the Coon Lake Road sign been, no, okay. So anyway, that's like over a year. So things like that, that is not acceptable. So I am hoping, with council's permission, I do have a recommended resolution, and you just tell me if it makes sense, but the council received the operational performance review summary by the MTO regarding Highway 28, and further, the council supports sending the mayor's response letter to the Ministry of Transportation, with copies sent to all Highway 28 municipal councils, Peterborough County MPP Dave Smith, MPP Rick Brise, Peterborough County OPP Detachment Commander Chris Galeazza, and Bancroft Detachment Commander Trevor Pitts, the Minister of Transportation, along with the Solicitor General. And further, that council support the mayor's continued advocacy work as leader of the Highway 28 Mayor's Coalition to advance corridor safety, improved communications, and a proactive, evidence-based process for future Highway 28 safety improvements.
Yeah, so I am fine with that. The one thing that I would like to sort of see included in it, and it doesn't even have to be a formal working group, but having those people mentioned, and those are the same folks that you mentioned, having them involved early enough that there's accountability in the study itself, I think is essential. If this is once again completely initiated by the MTO, then we lose control over what we're able to comment on. So I agree with everything, but I just think the order of the involvement needs to sort of take place in a way that ensures accountability across the system.
Yeah, well, and I think it's a challenge because right now, like I said, we're at the end of a term and it's the start of another term, and there's no guarantees that, the same players are going to be back at the table. And certainly, the intent, if I'm back, is that I'm going to carry on with this. And I'll probably carry on with it as a private citizen if not, but anyway. I think the initiative still rests with us at the end of the day. And like I said, MTO sort of, I felt like this report was provided to say, like, here you go, things are now complete. Thank you very much for your inquiry. Here you go. And I'm like, this is the beginning, not the end. So I think certainly it'll be up to us as the people that are living and dealing with this on a daily basis to instigate or to initiate, how this moves forward and who's going to be involved. Because like I said, when we had our meeting, and it's a challenge trying to get all of these folks together, right? That's why virtual meetings are so great. But lots of municipal staff were there. There was I think about half a dozen MTO folks that were at this meeting. We just need to keep the pressure on. So I don't know, I'm hesitant, I have the motion there, but I'm also recognizing that the term ends in November 15th, and like I said, going forward into the new term, this needs to carry on.
Yeah.
Right?
Again, I think that's one of the reasons why it's so important that we do get things sort of nailed down now and get that, at least it doesn't have to be formed, but the working group suggested publicly, so then the clock starts moving on that one.
But the coalition is a working group already, kind of, right?
A working group of only mayors that this...
No. Well, yes, it's a coalition of mayors to kind of bring that attention, but it's involving the municipal staff and in each municipality as well, to be involved in the information that I got from the fire, the fire chief, as well as our public works, and the MPs have been involved, certainly they've been circulated on all of this, right, so.
And I was gonna try to keep this positive and moving forward, but this report came forward under the leadership of the Coalition of the Mayors of 28. So I think there's a good sign that we need to have some more people than just the mayors of 28 involved with this.
Yeah, well, the report came forward from the MTO, right, at our request, right? And now we're coming back and saying, yeah, no, we need more. Yeah, so. Jim.
You've obviously put a lot of time in that, Colin, but I'm a firm believer in as few words as possible. And that's way too long. Nobody's gonna read anything on, anything in that. When I was reading this report for the operational performance review, I never read past the second paragraph. Because the second paragraph says overall the review is operating acceptable. No major improvements, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. What the hell is the sense reading anymore? They're not gonna do anything. And when I did look further and looked at what they had in here, there's nothing here. So I think your letter for the whole coalition you've got going with your mayors and so on and so forth is good. The only thing is it might be worthwhile taking Colin's letter and just pulling out these are our areas of concern. Not you should have done this and you can't do that and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
This is our areas of concern. This road, this road, this road, this road, and we would like further study on those roads. That's what I would see would be a nice finish to it.
Well, and I think because that needs to come not only from our municipality, but from all of the municipalities, right?
Yeah.
Because, and I do have, because Colin did send me his words prior to the meeting, so we knew what was coming forward. And it's all going into the pile, right? Because, we've been fairly specific, even with the package that was provided to like at Roma. It was like sort of like just a brief overview, but there were very specific details in there, like here's all the concerns, here's all the background documentation. I sent hundreds of pages of information forward to say to them, like here, like we've got to clear, even from your own reports that get generated through the OPP, where the hot zones are. And there's a discrepancy between what you're saying is the total number of fatalities for this specific time frame versus what we know to be true, right? What we see here in these reports. So there's a lot of things going on, and I don't, as I said, at the end of the day, there's going to be more information provided for. I can't do it all with this kind of letter, but I also, like I said, want to circulate this to the other municipalities so that they can get it on their agendas. I do believe, like, this report is out there. There are some other municipalities, I think, today that are having their council meetings that are bringing it forward, but certainly sending my letter off to and making sure that everybody's aware. I also want to note that Peterborough County has a delegation at the upcoming AMO conference with the MTO. I've shared a lot of my information with respect to Highway 28 and our dealings with the MTO with the county CAO too, so she's got more to add to their discussions as well, because it's not just about North Kawartha or the mayors of 28. There are significant challenges, I think, sometimes when it comes to the community or communication with this particular ministry. And like I said, but at the end of the day, we got to figure this out. We got to work together, people, because we're bearing the brunt of it. So.
Yeah. And I can probably get this done very quickly, but I just want to clarify something for the record. That wasn't a letter. That was a sort of overall statement of concerns that I had.
Yeah.
Finally, the report, yes, they mentioned wildlife strikes are a major concern. I don't have the numbers, and the study is probably impossible to do, but I'll bet all the money in my pocket that it's easier to avoid a deer on a road that meets MTO standards. For one, I'm glad that I read past paragraph 2 and noticed these kind of things.
All right, so anybody want to move the motion that I said with the additions? Kelly, I know I had sent it off to you. Did you get the additions?
I did.
Okay.
And I've added the Minister of Transportation and the Solicitor General.
Perfect. All right. Can I have a mover for that? Moved by Jim, seconded by Ruth Ann. All those in favor? That has been approved. All right, thanks guys. I appreciate that. And there's no closed session. No announcements. And just the bylaws, please, Kelly.
We have a bylaw under the provisions of section 34 of the Planning Act to amend zoning bylaw 26, 2013 with respect to certain lands described as part lots 23 to 25, concession 16 in the geographic area of Burley in the county of Peterborough, roll number 153602000237000, and a bylaw to amend zoning bylaw 26, 2013 with respect to certain lands described as number 25 Anstruther Lake Island 2 in the geographic area of Anstruther in the county of Peterborough, roll number 153602020006600, and a bylaw to adopt a procurement purchasing policy for the corporation of the Township of North Kawartha.
Perfect. Can I have a mover for those bylaws? Moved by Ruth Ann, seconded by Colin. All those in favor? Those bylaws have been adopted. And motion to confirm the proceedings of today's meeting. Moved by Colin, seconded by Ruth Ann. All in favor? We're confirmed. Motion to adjourn, please. Moved by Jim and seconded by all of us. Ruth Ann, Colin, me. Thank you, everyone. Have a good day.